Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English with Lisa. Let me ask you something. What is the first thing you do after waking up?
Do you check your phone immediately, or do you start your day with something productive? Your answer says a lot about your habits.
Today, we are going to talk about personal habits, the good ones and the bad ones, because your habits quietly control your success.
And while we discuss habits, you will also learn how to talk about them confidently in English. So stay with us and let's grow together.
You know, David, when people hear the word habits, they usually think about something big and serious. But actually, habits are just small actions we repeat every day without thinking too much about them.
That's very true. And most of the time, we don't even realize we're building habits. They slowly become part of our routine and start shaping our daily life.
Exactly. Like the first thing you do in the morning or the way you spend your free time. These small choices may look simple, but over time they create a pattern.
And that pattern becomes your lifestyle, whether it is good or bad. If you repeat something daily, your brain starts accepting it as normal.
I think that's why habits are so powerful, because they work silently in the background. You don't feel their impact immediately, but after months or years, you clearly see the results.
Yes, good habits slowly build confidence and stability. On the other hand, bad habits slowly create stress and frustration.
Another important thing is that habits are not only physical actions like exercising or eating healthy, they can also be mental habits like overthinking or complaining.
That's such an important point because our mindset is also built through repetition. If you constantly think negatively, negativity becomes your natural response.
So, in a way, habits are repeated behaviors that shape who we are becoming. They may look small, but they decide our long-term direction.
And once we understand that, we stop blaming luck or circumstances. We start paying attention to what we do every single day.
When I think about good habits, I don't think about something dramatic or extreme. I think about small actions that make me feel proud and peaceful at the end of the day.
I like that perspective because good habits are usually simple and consistent rather than exciting. They don't give instant results, but they slowly improve your life in a stable way.
For example, reading for even 10 minutes every day doesn't feel like a big achievement, but after a few months, you realize your vocabulary, focus, and confidence have improved.
That's so true, and I feel the same way about waking up early. At first, it felt difficult and uncomfortable, but now it gives me a sense of control over my day.
I think good habits also build self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, even small ones, you start trusting yourself more.
Yes, and not trust is very powerful because it increases your confidence. You begin to believe that you are capable of growth and discipline.
Even practicing English daily is a strong good habit, especially for our listeners. It may feel slow in the beginning, but consistency always wins in the long run.
Absolutely. Fluency is not built in 1 week or 1 month. It is built through daily effort and regular practice.
Good habits also reduce stress because you are prepared and organized. When you plan your day properly, you avoid unnecessary pressure.
And over time, those organized actions create balance in your life. You feel calmer, more focused, and more in control.
So, I believe good habits are like small investments in yourself. The returns may not be immediate, but they are definitely worth it.
And once they become part of your routine, they don't feel difficult anymore. They simply become who you are.
Now, let's talk about something a little uncomfortable: bad habits. I think we all have them, even if we don't like to admit it.
That's very true. And bad habits usually feel comfortable in the beginning. They don't look harmful at first, which is why they are so easy to repeat.
Exactly, like saying, I'll do it later when we have important work. It feels harmless in that moment, but slowly it becomes procrastination.
And procrastination creates stress because unfinished work keeps building up. Then we feel pressure and blame ourselves.
Another common bad habit is spending too much time on the phone. We tell ourselves it's just 5 minutes, but it often turns into much more.
Yes, and the problem is not just the time wasted, but also the loss of focus. It becomes harder to concentrate on important tasks.
I also think overthinking is a mental bad habit. When we constantly analyze and worry, we drain our energy.
That's so true because overthinking doesn't solve problems. It only increases anxiety and reduces confidence.
The difficult part about bad habits is that they become automatic. We don't even question them anymore.
And when something becomes automatic, it feels like part of our personality. But in reality, it's just repeated behavior.
I've realized that awareness is the first step toward change. Once you notice the habit clearly, you can start working on it.
Yes, instead of feeling guilty, we should focus on improvement. Change may be slow, but it is always possible.
Bad habits don't define who we are permanently. They only reflect what we have been repeating.
And if repetition created them, repetition can also replace them with better habits.
When I think about habits, I also think about how much we can change over time. Sometimes I look back at my old routine and realize I'm not the same person anymore.
I feel the same way, and that reflection is actually motivating. It reminds me that growth is possible when we become more aware of our actions.
For example, I used to sleep very late and waste time at night. At that time, it felt normal, but later I understood it was affecting my productivity.
That sounds familiar because I used to delay important tasks and then feel stressed about them. I didn't realize that I was creating a cycle of pressure for myself.
The interesting thing is that when we are inside a habit, we don't see it clearly. But when we step back and reflect, we understand the pattern.
Yes, and that reflection helps us improve slowly. We don't change overnight, but we make better choices day by day.
Now I try to sleep earlier and manage my time more carefully. It's not perfect, but it's definitely better than before.
And that's what progress looks like. Not perfection, but improvement. Even small positive changes show that we are moving forward.
I also used to avoid speaking English because I was afraid of making mistakes. Now I speak more confidently, even if I'm not perfect.
That's such an important shift in mindset. Confidence grows when we focus on communication instead of fear.
When we say, I used to, it shows that we have grown. It shows that we are not stuck in the same place.
And that realization builds self-belief. If we changed once, we can change again whenever we decide to.
So maybe the goal is not to become perfect. Maybe the goal is to become better than our past version.
Exactly, because personal growth is simply replacing old habits with healthier ones over time.
So David, if someone is listening right now and thinking, okay, I understand my habits, but how do I actually change them? What would you say to them? Because knowing is one thing, but doing is another.
That's such an important question. And I think the first step is to start small instead of trying to change everything at once. When people try to completely transform their life overnight, they usually feel overwhelmed and give up quickly.
I completely agree. Because big goals can feel exciting at first, but exhausting later. Small changes feel manageable and they are easier to repeat consistently.
Exactly. And consistency is more important than intensity. Doing something small every day is much more powerful than doing something big once in a while.
I've noticed that replacing a bad habit works better than just stopping it. If you try to remove something without adding something positive, the empty space pulls you back.
That's very true because habits leave a gap when you remove them. So instead of scrolling on your phone at night, you could read a few pages of a book or plan your next day.
Another thing that helps is tracking your progress. When you see small improvement, it motivates you to continue.
Yes, progress creates momentum. Even a small win can boost your confidence and keep you moving forward.
I also believe environment plays a big role. If your surroundings support your goal, change becomes easier.
Absolutely, because willpower alone is not enough. Your daily environment should make good habits simple and bad habits difficult.
And most importantly, we should be patient with ourselves. Change is not a race, it's a process.
That's such a healthy mindset because frustration often leads people back to old habits. Patience allows growth to happen naturally.
So, improving habits is not about being perfect, it's about being consistent and intentional.
And when you focus on steady progress, you slowly build a stronger and more disciplined version of yourself.
Before we wrap up, I think this is a good moment to involve our listeners a little more. Not in a classroom way, but in a real, reflective way.
I like that idea because podcasts should feel interactive, even if we can't see the audience. Sometimes just pausing and thinking deeply can create real change.
So, if you're listening right now, take a quiet moment and think about your daily routine. What is one habit you are proud of, and what is one habit you secretly want to change?
Don't rush the answer and don't judge yourself too quickly. Honest reflection is more powerful than quick motivation.
You can even say your thoughts out loud because speaking makes things more real. Try saying, "One good habit I have is," and complete the sentence.
And then say, one habit I want to improve is, because acknowledging it is already progress. Awareness is the beginning of change.
If you are learning English, this is also a great speaking exercise. You're not just thinking about your habits, you are practicing communication.
Exactly. And fluency grows when you speak about real topics that connect to your life. Personal experiences make your English more natural.
You don't need perfect grammar for this. You just need honesty and the courage to express yourself.
And remember, improvement starts with small, honest conversations, even if that conversation is with yourself.
So take a breath, reflect for a moment, and be kind to yourself. Growth takes time, but every small step counts.
And maybe today's reflection will become the first step toward a better habit tomorrow.
So today we had a very honest and thoughtful conversation about personal habits. We explored how small daily actions quietly shape our life over time.
Yes, we talked about both good habits and bad habits and how repetition makes them powerful. We also reflected on how change is possible when we become aware of our patterns.
We discussed how good habits build confidence and stability, and we also accepted that bad habits can be replaced with better ones.
Most importantly, we understood that growth is not about perfection. It is about improving step by step.
And hopefully, this conversation helped you reflect on your own daily routine, because awareness is always the first step toward change.
Exactly. And maybe today's reflection will become tomorrow's better decision.
You know, after talking about all this, I feel like habits are really the quiet builders of our life. They don't make noise, but they slowly shape who we become.
That's such a powerful way to put it, because most people wait for big opportunities while ignoring small daily actions. But in reality, those small actions decide everything.
I think the most important thing we learned today is that habits are not fixed. They're created by repetition, and they can be changed by repetition.
Exactly, which means no one is stuck forever. If you created a habit once, you can create a better one again.
Growth is not about being perfect every day. It's about choosing slightly better actions than yesterday.
And even if you fail sometimes, it doesn't erase your progress. One bad day does not destroy a good journey.
I hope our listeners understand that change is possible for them too. It doesn't matter where you're starting from.
What matters is what you repeat from today onward. Your future is built by your daily choices.
So maybe don't try to change your whole life tonight. Just choose one small habit to improve.
And stay consistent with it even when motivation feels low. Discipline is stronger than motivation.
Let us begin with the most important word from today's episode, which is habit. A habit is a repeated action that becomes automatic over time.
When you repeat an action daily, your brain starts doing it without much effort. That is why habits feel natural after some time.
The second important word is routine. A routine is a fixed sequence of actions that you follow regularly.
For example, your morning routine may include waking up, brushing your teeth, and having breakfast.
The word discipline is extremely important when we talk about habits. Discipline means controlling yourself even when you do not feel motivated.
Many people wait for motivation, but discipline helps you act even when you feel lazy.
The word consistent means doing something regularly without long breaks. Consistency is more powerful than intensity.
For example, studying 30 minutes daily is better than studying 5 hours once a week.
Now, let us understand the word procrastination. Procrastination means delaying important tasks without a strong reason.
When you say, I will do it tomorrow, again and again, that is procrastination.
The next word is productive. Being productive means completing useful tasks effectively.
Productivity is not about being busy, it is about doing meaningful work.
Let us now move to grammar, starting with the simple present tense. We use simple present to talk about habits and repeated actions.
The structure is subject plus base verb. For example, I wake up early.
When the subject is he, she, or it, we add s or es to the verb. For example, she wakes up early.
This small s is very important, and many beginners forget it.
We also use frequency adverbs with simple present tense. These words show how often something happens.
Common frequency adverbs are always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, and never.
For example, I usually exercise in the morning. The adverb comes before the main verb.
But with the verb to be, the adverb comes after it, like I am always on time.
Now let us understand present continuous tense. We use it for actions happening now or temporary situations.
The structure is subject plus am, is, are, plus verb plus ing. For example, I am improving my habits.
This tense is useful when you are in the process of change. For example, I am trying to wake up earlier.
It shows effort and ongoing improvement.
Now let us talk about used to. We use used to for past habits that are not true now.
The structure is subject plus used to plus base verb. For example, I used to sleep late.
It clearly shows a difference between past and present.
Another important structure is have a habit of plus verb ing.
For example, I have a habit of checking my phone at night. The verb after of must be in ing form.
This structure sounds natural in spoken English.
We also use tend to plus base verb to describe common behavior. It shows a general pattern.
For example, I tend to overthink small problems.
Now, let us discuss connectors, which make your sentences stronger. Connectors join ideas logically.
The word because is used to give reasons. For example, I wake up early because I want to be productive.
The word but shows contrast between two ideas.
For example, I feel tired, but I still exercise.
The word although also shows contrast, but in a more formal way.
For example, although I feel tired, I continue working.
Another useful connector is so, which shows result.
For example, I practice daily, so I improved quickly.
Now, let us talk about modal verbs. Modal verbs show ability, possibility, or advice.
Important modal verbs are can, should, must, and could.
Can shows ability. For example, I can control my habits.
Should gives advice. For example, you should manage your time wisely.
Must shows strong necessity. For example, you must stay consistent.
These modals are followed by the base form of the verb.
Let us also understand comparative structures. We use them to compare two things.
For example, Consistency is better than motivation.
For short adjectives, we add er. For example, stronger, faster.
For longer adjectives, we use more. For example, more productive.
Finally, remember subject-verb agreement is very important. The verb must match the subject.
For example, habits shape life is correct, but habits shapes life is incorrect.
Clear structure makes your English understandable.
Strong vocabulary makes your ideas powerful.
When you combine both correctly, your communication improves significantly.
And regular practice will turn grammar knowledge into natural speech.
So focus on small improvements daily.
Because language fluency, just like good habits, grows with repetition.
Thank you so much for listening to English with Lisaa, where we grow step by step together. Remember, fluency is not built in one day. It is built daily.
If today's episode helped you even a little, that means you are already moving forward. Progress may feel slow, but it is still progress.
Don't forget to like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who is also learning English.
Your support motivates us to create better and more practical content every week.
And most importantly, keep practicing your English, even if it's just for 10 minutes a day.
Confidence comes from repetition, and repetition creates mastery.
This is English with Lisaa, and we'll see you in the next episode.